Love iHeartRadio. Join the millions of music, radio, and podcast fans on the #1 streaming radio app now.
iHeartRadio.
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 Free never sounded so good.
Children who grow up in poverty are part of a destructive cycle. At Child Fund International, we find this unacceptable. In 25 countries, we are vigorously fighting poverty and improving the lives of children and their families. Learn more at childfund.org.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. Be a part of the show by calling 915-544-KTSM, 915-544-5876, or comment online on our stream at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. It's 4 p.m. Mountain Time, and that means it's time to talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I am your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages we're up on these days, facebook.com/Talk El Paso, the Talk El Paso channel over on YouTube, Twitter at Talk El Paso, or twitch.tv, Andrew J. Polk. People tuning in from pretty much all of those methods over on our social media right now, including Ida Beza Gardner with the hi and the wave, and Mondo Moncada with the howdy, and Amber Banda, very much Amber Alert in the house with the, again, maybe I shouldn't say it that way, but with the rock on to appreciate, and Sean Gardner, and did get that picture that you sent to Sean, and one of the things we'll be talking about here today is that, yeah, there is a major fire happening out in El Paso at one of those recycling yards, so no injuries reported yet, but we'll get into those details and some of those pictures here in just a minute. Some more updates to the current immigration and border security situation here in the borderland, as we are looking at some of those updates, some of those updated numbers, but also other enforcement actions, including not quite $2 million caught in the region when it comes to illicit drugs, particularly at the ports of entry. Since in the first part of this month anyway. So another fun bit of updates there. But then also a lot more coming across different state lines. Specifically, we are looking at that next special session for the legislature coming in Texas, hot on the heels of that definitely a total kumbaya moment, right? When it came to the impeachment and now acquittal of, I guess under some federal microscopes, but now returned to office, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. So we'll talk about that one. And also in the land of enchantment, did promise we would mention about it, the response from Michelle Lujan Grisham, Democrat governor up in the land of enchantment, about the updates to the gun order. There's been some information going around incorrectly, I do believe there. It's not gone, though it has been changed, so we'll talk about that as well. And we are going to be doing that giveaway, as those of you who are over on our social media got that little bit of a preview. You got the question in hand, so if you've gotten the chance to look that up already, I got to tell you, it's pretty simple. We'll be putting out that question and putting out the phone line in order to win that next set of Hammer and Nails, that next Hammer and Nails gift card to go and get those services with them. So a lot going on today, and also brief interview today I was able to do as part of the WorkSafe Texas Summit. Great event happening this morning. Was able to talk with the president and CEO of the Texas Restaurant Association about some of the things that have gone on and will be coming up, particularly as we're still looking at issues going on with the legislature. But as one of the questions being asked around as we were coming live right now, saw like a half dozen posts from people in and around the area asking, so what's going on out there? That yes, there is a fire being reported out in the Montana Vista area, and residents near that area are being asked to evacuate. And now I'm not trying to leave y'all too high and dry. This is one of the pictures up from specifically the sheriff's department, though we did have one of our listeners out in the area. This one specifically from Sean, sending us this one. A little bit too close there, Sean, I would say. So I hope you're able to get out of that area, because, yeah, that's a quite big billowing fire. I mean, not that any time that we hear a recycling center catch fire, and by the way, this isn't the only time in recent time that this has happened in our area. There's odds are, particularly if you see something kind of more south of the Juarez Mountains, it might be that, or a landfill, etc., that type of thing. But anytime you get densely packed, particularly cardboard, oh boy, if there's RJ putting it seems like it seems like recycling fires are the worst and longest lasting. I mean, yeah, the big black billowing smoke can be pretty intense. So if you're going to notice a fire, it does seem like it's a recycling center. And Monica Cervantes saying, I hope everyone is safe. Again, no injuries reported at the moment, though. Again, law enforcement, firefighters, first responders are asking people to steer clear of the area as much as possible, specifically Buntline and Cragg Streets. But again, Montana Vista area, and given the pictures, again, going to be kind of hard to miss. So just kind of don't go there would be the best advice I could give y'all right now. Willie Jenkins also with wow. I mean, it is kind of getting impressive. Yes. And Sean Gardner adding, you got to get close to a fire if you're going to make s'mores. I would heartily recommend you not do that. This is the exact kind of thing that you like a little extra benzene or other chemical compounds, because I mean, looking at some of the pictures that are a little bit close and showing the base of the fire, like some bundled cardboard. I mean, there's a lot of different things like the plastics that you don't want in that otherwise delicious campfire sandwich. Like just don't do it unless you want to be growing several extra, I don't know, limbs if you're lucky. But otherwise, I mean, there's plenty of other things that you can grow that you don't want to have around on you either. So that's part of what's going on out there today. And a lot of the questions ended up coming up about what the heck is that, giant ball of smoke in the sky? That's what's going on there. And RJ, don't encourage him, asking him how it tastes. I don't want to know, and I don't want anyone else to find out either. Again, stay clear the hell away from the area, again, at Cragg and Buntline specifically. But otherwise, in other enforcement actions going on in our regions, CBP announcing a lot of drug busts happening in our region, specifically at ports of entry. So these are the ones happening as people are trying to cross through the established ports of entry and getting caught up. And it's specifically about 300 pounds of narcotics with a street value of about 1.8 million. Does make me wonder if that value has increased at all. If inflation keeps pace with that, that's a question I don't know who to really ask of these days. But the amount being found there, including in things like basically, like votive candles, among other things, bundles of marijuana. And so just a lot of not fun stuff, real bad for you and for your health. Wouldn't want that in a s'mores either. And Sean Gardner letting us know that he did have to get close to inspect and then made sure we're clear, so left the area for work there. So appreciate you staying safe and letting us know and encouraging other people not to do the stupid things. But yeah, and of course, Willie Jenkins saying correctly that the only legal way to come in is through the ports of entry. But if you're bringing illegal things through the ports of entry, you're also still in violation of things there. So some of the pictures and the gathering of them so far up over there. And one more, I guess, law enforcement-ish point to be made about particularly up in the Las Cruces. City council members being addressed directly by business owners that are being very frustrated with the continued issues with vandalism and, other crimes in the downtown area, specifically asking for city councilors to take action. As noted by our news partners at KFOX 14, Patricia Jimenez, owner of the Little Shop on Main, who we've referenced before, and their reporting has as well, saying, quote, "We have a civil right to be protected, and we have a human right in our community as civilians and business owners. Change starts now. There's been a lot of crime here, and it's getting out of hand. I'm very concerned. I've been an ongoing victim for 7 months, and I keep calling the police, and I feel like we're not being protected." And a lot of other business owners chiming in as well, talking about, and two city council members about what they are experiencing and the frustration of it specifically. So more detail from our news partners at KFOX 14 on that as well. And then, of course, one of those other ongoing situations, more national, federal law enforcement going on with that. But one of the article titles from our news partners at KFOX 14, El Paso County grapples with migrant surge, balancing public services and local concerns, noting that, particularly from the county side of things, them speaking with El Paso County Judge Ricardo Samaniego, that the county's Welcome Center, their side of facilities, have been averaging about 400 to 500 migrants a day. Now, there are a few other things that have been going on with that as well, including what the city is now looking at, including some of the things that have been set up, and the fact that there is actually the looking like it might be moving forward with the purchase for both a migrant and animal shelter, one of those former EPISD schools. But we'll talk about that more here in just a minute. As we also have Ed Clore was saying, Frankie's homies, listen, don't be drinking and vandalizing, or vandalizing at all, regardless of what you're drinking. But also Eric von Holstein Rathlow chiming in with us. Good afternoon to you as well. We got to take that first break of this hour right now, but as promised, we do have that giveaway that'll be going for you right now. We have got that next $100 Hammer and Nails gift card that we will be giving away. And very simply, for those of y'all who were listening or paying attention to that little preview video that we put up over on the social media a little bit before the show here today, told you it was coming and told you that we'd be putting it out there, so it pays to pay attention and be following us in all the ways that make sense for y'all. And we did put it out on all the places that were regularly live, so no excuses. The question for today to get that $100 gift card is, what is Hammer and Nails top level membership? The best experience way that it is listed on their website. So there's a hint where you can find that information, but we'll be taking that with the first caller with the correct information there over on the phone line right now. Yeah, phone line open for this just specifically right now. So if you got that answer, call in with that to win that gift card. 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. What is Hammer and Nails top level membership? Again, that question, that answer will get you that $100 Hammer and Nails gift card. So taking those calls right now, open till we get to the, and Eric asking if they have a discount if you have a receding hairline. They do have other trims and other possibilities, or even a gray camo if you've also got that situation going on for you here. But get that on the phone line if you got the answer to that question. Up for grabs until we get that winner. So we're taking that next break right now. So coming out of this break, we'll talk more about the other things going on in the region, including that WorkSafe Texas Summit. Was able to visit that earlier today. An interview we were able to conduct during that about some of the things that are certainly affecting us here in the borderlands. So stay tuned. We'll talk El Paso after this break here on News Radio 690 KTSM. That phone number again to win, 915-544-5876. Back in a minute.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
El Paso Fire is responding to a large blaze that can be seen all over East El Paso, east of Rich Beam and south of Montana. The blaze reportedly started in a recycling yard. Try to avoid that area. Accident, Alabama, north of McKinley. Slow traffic on the 10 eastbound from Vinton down to Red. 15-minute delays. And Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? Here's a hint. Fall finds for $25 and under, like sharp blazers, cozy sweaters, cargo pants, jackets, and more. Find the latest trends and new arrivals at a Macy's Backstage store near you.
Hey, El Paso, Ivan Ochoa, General Manager of Sunland Park, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Don't get hit hard by high prices or low trade offers. Score a touchdown and save thousands on new and certified pre-owned vehicles and get more for your trade.
Trade in and trade up for less during Jeep Adventure Days at Sunland Park Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. For a limited time, get $6,500 off MSRP on 2023 Ram 1500 Lone Star, Bighorn, and Laramie trucks, or 2.9% APR for 72 months. 2023 Jeep Gladiator trucks, 10% off MSRP. Take $3,500 off MSRP on 2023 Dodge Charger. Get $2,500 off MSRP on 2023 Chrysler 300 and 2023 Dodge Challenger. Worried about your credit or worried that you're upside down in your trade? Forget about it. Our aggressive lenders will push to improve your credit, even if your credit is less than perfect or if you owe more than your trade is worth. Trade in and trade up for less at Sunland Park Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. At I-10 at Sunland Park Drive or online at sunlandparkdodge.com. $1,550 per thousand finance includes factory rebate and dealer discount plus TTL on select vehicles with approved credit. Offers not combined.
Hi, I'm Burt Ward, Robin from TV's Batman, inviting you to feed your dog natural, non-GMO, Gentle Giants dog and puppy food. Dogs eating Gentle Giants and following our special feeding and care program are living as long as 27 healthy, active years with a wonderful quality of life. Holy wow, 27 years! Think of all the extra years you could enjoy with your dog at Petco, Stater Brothers, H-E-B, and more. Try Gentle Giants cat and kitten food, too.
Major phone carriers make you sign contracts with rigid data plans to trap you into a kind of forced phonogamy. Sounds pretty insecure if you ask me. At Consumer Cellular, we believe in a more consensual and healthy form of phonogamy, free of contracts and more flexible to your data needs. This way, you stick around not because we force you to with contracts and fees, but because you love our phone plans. Like ardently love our phone plans. Phonogamously. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone?
Do flowers have best friends?
I don't know.
Hey, look.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I am your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages we're up on these days, Facebook.com/Talk El Paso, the Talk El Paso channel over on YouTube, Twitter @Talk El Paso, or Twitch.tv, Andrew J. Polk. A lot of conversation and commentary already coming in there, but we're still yet to get that winner for the giveaway we got going on for you right now. Again, it's available till someone gets it. Again, what is the way it's put it there, the premier membership, the one labeled as the best experience. I've talked about this one before, so if y'all have been paying attention, you should know it, but even if you haven't, it's available over there on the Hammer and Nails Grooming website. Just click under their clubs and join the club and choose your membership. Should find that answer of what their top tier membership is, the one labeled as best experience, and you'll still be able to win that $100 Hammer and Nails gift card and get those services. I'm getting my next one scheduled here shortly, so I am definitely looking forward to getting all of that. But again, if you want to claim that gift card for yourself, just got to get that right answer on the line by giving us a call at 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. Here's a hint. The membership has club in the name. So anyway, a lot of other stuff going on here today, including a little bit earlier today was out at the WorkSafe Texas Summit, brought to you by Texas Mutual Insurance Company, with a lot of information and discussions from major organizations. Made some posts over on our social media there as well, if you got a chance to take a look at it, about some of the panels, some of the speakers, and very specifically, I did get the chance to speak with the president and CEO of the Texas Restaurant Association, Emily Williams Knight, about both what she was talking about during the summit, as well as some of the things both currently ongoing and that are upcoming when it affects the restaurant industry. So I was able to get a couple minutes with her right outside of the conference room and speaking about that. So here is that interview. Enjoy. All right, so we're here at the WorkSafe Texas Summit, here put on by Texas Mutual Insurance Company. What were some of the major things that you're wanting people to take away from what you all are talking about here with the Texas Restaurant Association?
I think what most important is that restaurants are regulated to the nth degree, right, from the federal, state, and local level, especially here in El Paso. And so our number one sort of ask is to make sure that every restaurant owner talks about safety. Every shift manager is talking about safety, whether it be in the back of the house to avoid, burns or cuts and scrapes, front of the house, how they don't trip and fall, slip, protection of guests. And then, of course, really what we're focused on as well is food safety and how are we making sure that we're feeding El Pasoans safely every single day. And so that really comes down to using products like ServeSafe, which ensures that every employee is certified in safe food handling. And so to me, this is a great way to remind people of the importance of safety, for them to reevaluate their own safety plans for their employees and guests, and to kind of recommit to leading in the safety discussion and safety of all, essentially everyone that they interact. I think sometimes we get busy and we can forget. So this has been a great day to be reminded of that.
Of course, safety being one of the major focuses here today, but of course, y'all with the Texas Restaurant Association have a lot of focuses. Some of the things that you did mention adjacent to safety was that of some of the major efforts y'all have seen, regulation changes, the whole, alcohol to go that was difficult in the pre times and now has been, it's not going away anytime soon without major political consequences. But those are the kind of things that y'all also work about. So when it comes to just kind of restaurants and the situations that many of them are involving in general here now, there have been continued upheavals, supply chain issues, all that kind of stuff. So what are some of the things that y'all are focusing on now when it comes to restaurants and the restaurant industry in general?
El Paso is incredibly exciting for us because there is a lot of growth in El Paso. And I think people assume there's just one type of cuisine here, and that's not the case. It is very easy in El Paso, with the community here, to embrace and take a new restaurant in.
Yeah, we're good.
And so for me, I think what we think about El Paso is a couple things. One is we were just able to get a lot of major victories at the Texas legislature that'll impact restaurants here. So property tax relief, that includes businesses, real relief that they'll see next year. We removed duplicate fees. So if you pay a fee once, you're not paying at the state and local level. Cleaning up things like allergens and making sure that we have the right training or notifications in restaurants to keep people safe. And then, even just finding some consistency. So, one set of rules across the state. So if you operate in El Paso, but maybe you go into a different county or city, with some really key economic rules that you'll have one set to have to really comply to. And so for me, I think for restaurants now, it's coming out of incredible inflation on the cost of goods, on labor, swipe fees, believe it or not, credit card fees are currently really hurting restaurants because they're up almost double digits over this time last year. So I think for restaurants are still in that coming out of the pandemic mode, which is hard to imagine 3 years later. But I think what's nice here in a city like this is people seem to love their restaurants. And so we just encourage people to go out, to dine out, to take food to go from that restaurant and really to enjoy that experience of hospitality.
Final question then, when it comes to you talk about some of the issues that you'll have dealt with and the ongoing ones. What are some of the ones on the horizon that, particularly if people are wanting to know about, okay, how can they plan for their business, or the major issues that it could be seen to come on? What are some of the things that y'all are working on, or the resources that you particularly have available?
Yeah, we're folks. Our focus right now really is at the federal level and we have a number of essentially pieces of legislation that can make a huge impact. So, for example, swipe fees. It's the third largest expense on a P&L of a restaurant. Nobody seems to sort of make that connection, and we're using credit cards more and more. So we're working very hard, and we've had our restaurant association here in El Paso lean in to help us on that fight. We're also looking at going back to the legislature and putting more money into workforce development and programs like ProStart. So we're doing that work now. We're working on, how do we make sure that restaurants have the ability to extend patios long term. A lot of that happened in the pandemic. That's sort of a city by city, but we're really making sure that cities realize that by letting them go out and expand and serve food and beverage on a patio, that you're going to increase the overall revenue. And I think this is so important. For every dollar someone spends in a restaurant in El Paso, it's $2.37 to the local economy. So it is definitely an economic producer for the city. So we're really looking at how do we continue to help restaurants thrive when you're growing so fast. And everyone who comes to El Paso needs two things. They need food and they need shelter, and we do food. So we're in a great place right now, and we're really excited about what's happening here in El Paso.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So again, was able to get a couple minutes and a couple of questions in there with, again, the president and CEO of the Texas Restaurant Association, of which I'm mentioning some of those priorities going forward that they're going to be looking at for those future legislative sessions, and a couple of notes on there as Texas is coming off of the ever so slightly non-kumbaya moment that was the impeachment hearings, and now acquittal of Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, now back on the job, and definitely, already releasing statements about some of his action, particularly regarding the Biden administration. Won't be probably a set of a special session ones coming up with that, but there have been some announcements that have come out, what at least, the governor is talking about there. But I did promise I'd talk a little bit more about some of the immigration and border security situations that are going on. Specifically, El Paso Matters reporting on that EPISD expected today during their Board of Trustees meeting. We're looking at moving forward with selling of the former Moorhead Middle School, not too far from us down Mesa. I guess it is a little bit far from us down Mesa Street here at the station, to sell it to the city of El Paso in order to turn it into a migrant and animal shelter. And specifically looking at leasing the property to the city for $23,000 a month until the sale is complete. That's some of the information put out already by the district EPISD in this case. And city officials telling El Paso Matters they plan to turn the school into an emergency operations center. It will be used to temporarily house migrants or residents affected by disasters like flooding and fires, and an animal shelter and community dog park. Interesting idea. I guess there are some decent grounds around Moorhead Middle School. I mean, like the former football fields and what have you. And there's kind of like a large wilderness nature area, if I'm thinking about it right, the part that kind of goes along down Mesa Hills, for anyone that is aware of it. And this, of course, comes as currently in the city of El Paso, approximately 900 are migrants housed in hotels by the city of El Paso, while preparations are underway for a overflow shelter at the nation's Tobin Recreation Center, specifically. And pardon my ignorance on this part, there's a roller rink at Nations Tobin over there. That's I guess I haven't been to that park that much that I have missed that entirely. That there's a roller. I didn't know that we even had roller rinks anymore here in El Paso, so that one came as news to me. But those are a couple of the things going on here. But I'm happy to say that we did get also, as we're going to be taking that next break right now, did get the winner of that giveaway for the again Hammer and Nails gift card. Congrats to Ed. That card will be available for you tomorrow to be picked up over at the Hammer and Nails location. And for anyone wondering about the answer to that question that we were putting out, what is the premier top level membership to Hammer and Nails? It's the Club Lux, which I'll talk more about here in just a second. And in fact, as a matter is, we'll take that next break right now. Coming out of this break, talking a little bit more about what is being in some of the response there to some of those sale and option things. We'll address more of that here in just a second, but also, of course, talking about across state lines, some of those issues going on, including what the governor of Texas is promising to do when it comes to more action for the state legislature. It's a busy year for the legislators, a lot more than they're used to, because they'd be done and back in their, well, except for like committee hearings and what have you, back in their home districts, still going to be getting dragged back to Austin at least one more time this year. And I wouldn't hold my breath to say there aren't going to be any further after that. But also response coming in from Mexico and the governor up there in the land of enchantment about the gun orders. And well, I'll just call it for spoiler's sake, still a defiant attitude on that. But we'll talk more about that coming out of this break. You're, of course, tuned in to Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I am your host, Andrew J. Polk. Whole lot more going on. Whole lot more we'll talk to. A lot more reason to stay tuned right here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Don't go anywhere. As mentioned, Hammer and Nails, official hair and beard sponsor of the show, and where I will be going to get my next set of services, getting a little bit woolly in parts of the face there, and so we'll be getting that dealt with those great neck services. And for those that were unaware, they do have their Club Lux, their premier membership, in which you can get unlimited services from them each month for one monthly price. Even bring a friend along with you for free included. But if you want to get any of theirs, you can always make your appointment by going anytime, day or night, over to their website to make the appointment. They do have regular business hours, but you can at least make your appointment and be all set to go to get yourself feeling like a king by visiting hammerandnailsgrooming.com. That's hammerandnailsgrooming.com. Most recently, I got their premier cut and beard grooming experience. And I'll be looking to add some more of those services on there as well, because as some of those in the audience were mentioning that if you've got the chrome dome, that you don't really need a haircut, but they've got plenty of both facial, foot, and hand services available for you. So, hey, they are truly a head-to-toe men's grooming experience. So check them out there online. Again, hammerandnailsgrooming.com. Took me less than 5 minutes to make that first appointment fully made, confirmed by text immediately, and it's all right there laid out in front of you. hammerandnailsgrooming.com. That's hammerandnailsgrooming.com.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
With your KFOX 14 news update, I'm Liz DeWicki. KFOX 14 has learned that the execution of David Renteria is back on. It's been set back to its original date of Thursday, November 16th, 2023. Renteria is on death row right now for the murder of a 5-year-old girl in 2001. Just last week, the execution date had been withdrawn, according to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Close to $2 million in drugs has been intercepted at the U.S.-Mexico border in the first 2 weeks of September alone. Customs officers have seized almost 300 pounds of fentanyl, meth, heroin, cocaine, and marijuana before it got into the United States. Agents say all of these busts were separate incidents. One person is in the hospital right now with pretty serious injuries after a crash in northeast El Paso. It happened overnight Tuesday on Highway 54 south on Dyer Street. Only one vehicle was involved, but police had to close all the lanes of the highway while they were on that scene. The highway is back open right now. With your KFOX 14 news update, I'm Liz DeWicki.
News Radio 690. Traffic all day.
El Paso fire is responding to a large blaze that can be seen all over East El Paso, east of Rich Beam and south of Montana. The blaze reportedly started in a recycling yard. Try to avoid that area. Accident, Alabama, north of McKinley. Slow traffic on the 10 eastbound from Vinton down to Red. 15-minute delays. In Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
From the KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Brad Montgomery. Slight storm chances get back into the forecast for our Wednesday. Partly cloudy, still on the hot side for tomorrow. Breezy conditions with a high around 95 degrees, 20% chance of storms as we go through the afternoon and evening hours. As we look at your Thursday, partly cloudy, breezy again, lower to mid-90s with a high around 93 on Thursday and a 10% chance of a storm for your Thursday. From the KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Brad Montgomery.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles. Wendy's new Breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles lets you choose from your fave 4, including a sausage or egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected. You may be entitled to a significant financial award for your Camp Lejeune claim, but you must act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune. Call now or you may forever lose your right to be awarded a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-771-1722. That's 800-771-1722. 800-771-1722.
For the local issues and discussion you won't get anywhere else, turn to Talk El Paso, weekdays at 4 right here on News Radio 690 KTSM, brought to you in part by the El Paso Community Foundation. Sound off on what matters to you, Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m., and let's talk El Paso.
Klein tools are new at Lowe's. Right now, get the new Klein 3-piece Modbox mobile workstation, exclusively at Lowe's, for just $319.94. Because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows pros. This report is sponsored by Lowe's.
Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working. Who, me? Text and whatever, just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
News Radio 690 KTSM El Paso.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I am your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live, streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages, facebook.com/Talk El Paso, more or less the main page, but find us other Facebook pages, or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch.tv overall, where we do have, again, under Talk El Paso or Andrew J. Polk, double in between technically there as well, but a lot of conversation happening over on the social media. Certainly those dropping those likes and reacts that do appreciate, including Sean Gardner, Ed Clore, James Holmes, RJ, Amber Robbie Flores, Monica Cervantes, and James Radcliffe. Oh, one more drop off there. Doesn't always show me the full list sometimes, which is not meaning you're unappreciated, just you need to go and find it one other way. And I think the other one was Ida Beza Gardner, of course, there, along with Buddy Vaya. So thanks for tuning in and chiming in and dropping those likes and reacts. We do take them as you like the ability to talk about the things going on and affecting us here in the borderland. And there's still a lot going on, and particularly taking a little bit more of a statewide look. So, of course, the tumultuous end of the Texas Attorney General impeachment hearing happening in the state of Texas, as well, of course, now ceded way to further Capitol business. Now, there has, of course, this is another year of the legislature, even more than, so what was that actual legislative session? I'll have to look up the exact date of it, but there was 1 year when the Texas legislature just didn't go home, was basically the way it was. I mean, sure, they had breaks, but they kept getting called back for special session after special session. And besides this, I guess, interlude-ish, if you want to call it that, because then they were concentratedly in the Capitol for those couple of weeks, actually dealing with the hearings of it. Now there is going to be another special session, as was fully expected. That the only question leading up to September was going to be if the special session was going to get called to try and squeeze it in before the impeachment was set to go, or if it was going to wait until after. And now we have that, of course, full answer with Texas Tribune headline on that one. Governor Greg Abbott says special legislation session on school choice coming in October. Now, of course, there have been a number of different priorities that Governor Greg Abbott has put forth, including during the regular legislative session, his emergency items, his basically, hey, get this one done, y'all. And it gives them some power, mostly through the leadership of either respective house, the House or the Senate in this case, to do some actions to move things up or move them around. It didn't all end up happening. It ended up being quite the tumultuous. It's continued to be quite tumultuous, both in the regular session and even in the special sessions. And so one of the ones that has been left on the drawing board at least for now. But now with this being called forth has been the idea of school funding is a part of it, but more specifically, really looking at, so again, what the governor is referring to as school choice. His at a Tele town hall is reported on by Texas Tribune. Governor saying, quote, "There's an easy way to get it done and there's a hard way. We will take it either way in a special session or after an election." So that's I'm going to take that as a little bit of a by hook or by crook kind of thing. Like, either you get this done or we're going to get you out of office. I don't know if that's really the threat, but that's some of the veiled language I would be taking from that. And also saying, quote, "If we do not win in that first special session, we'll have to do another special session and we'll come back again. If we don't win that time, I think it's time to send this to the voters themselves." So honestly being noted as being pretty blunt about it, about making this so that there is going to be, again, the focus on school choice. So whether it looks like school vouchers, school savings accounts, that was one of the sticking points going on in all of the kerfuffles that have been happening in the legislature up to this point. And so we'll see what it actually looks like. And your bet is as good as mine, frankly, at this point, because the versions that came out, and frankly, the sticking points, I'm going to say primarily in the House, but it wasn't necessarily along party lines. I mean, certainly there was, and yes, it was certainly a kerfuffle. I dare anyone to tell me otherwise. But given the fact that there is not a whole lot of kumbaya going on in the State House right now makes me wonder how well this is going to end up turning out. Because, again, even the impeachment itself was quite tumultuous, and I firmly support the argument that it has laid bare the complete divide that now exists at this point between the House and the Senate. Look at the difference in the way that the impeachment was even handled, with again 70% of Republican representatives within the House voting to send that impeachment over to the Senate, and then pretty much the Senate Republicans in pretty well lockstep. Couple of defections, but not necessarily on all points, and we'll see how that works out for them politically on the acquittal than it was of Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. And given the fact that there is even already pot shots happening, I mean, they've never really stopped, because it definitely is like a mommy and daddy are fighting and they're doing it in the middle of the restaurant kind of feeling to it when it comes to the arguments between the leader of the House, Dade Phelan, and again the Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who was then again the president of the Senate in that way. So I'm not going to have huge high hopes for this special legislative session. Now, of course, the way it works is that the governor is fully in the driver's seat when it comes to, well, maybe not the driver's seat, but of setting the GPS. Let's put it that way. But if significant detours are then taken by, again, the either front or backseat drivers, depending on how you want to put it, and the argument over who is who between the chambers, again, kerfuffle is going to be a word I'm expecting to use quite a lot in discussing what is going to come up during the special session. Again, I really don't have any confidence that we are going to see actual outcomes from this one, given just how contentious situations are at the moment. So, and I mean, James Ratcliffe taking a particular line out saying maybe a special session on government choice. You really want our existing Texas reps and senators, certainly not in El Paso. I mean, sure, I get that you're not a fan of our local state representation, but I don't know. I think a little bit more breakdown and maybe a little bit more clarity on what the governor meant by either sending it to in a special session or after an election. I don't know if there's a way that they can try to put it on as like a ballot item or a ballot initiative. I mean, we do have a stacked deck coming up already for November when it comes to the vote in Texas. We've got 14 constitutional amendments on there, and a lot of them will have to do with some of the outcomes from the previous special legislative sessions, including the tax relief, the changing of some of those funding formulas for when it comes to the public school, basically taking some of off from the property tax rolls and putting it back on to the basically direct state funding, but takes constitutional amendment to get that done. But actually making that happen, well, I think that one's a pretty done deal. I mean, there'll be some no votes on it, but given the perspective on that, I think that'll happen. The constitutional amendments when it comes to the property taxes. The other part of it that may or may not be put in or shoehorned into this upcoming special session would be the points on school funding overall, increases to its teachers, training, etc. We've had some other school districts in Texas already saying, hey, we were told that this was going to happen, so we've already started like planning raises and stuff like that. Is this going to happen or not? And now the question is, even if it's going to be a part of this. So, I mean, it's been telegraphed. It's saying that it will come up, but without the specific order in place about what actions are to be taken by the legislature. We'll have to wait and see for that. So being called for a start of October, but, well, we'll see what actually comes out of that. There's a lot more going on there and other issues, including the response from across state lines from New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham finding the time to respond to this in the beyond or around the time of a visit coming up actually today. The governor in New Mexico currently visiting Taipei in Taiwan and leading a Taiwan trade mission, so in there at the moment. But the updates to the public health order focused on combating gun violence. That the headline from the governor's office issuing an update to that basically making it so that technically it is for Albuquerque only, though it has some more specific lines about I don't think in those kind of orders you can say specifically only one state, but it put it forth as essentially high crime area in which certain amount of incidents that come forth that I fully expect would only end up applying to Albuquerque. So directly reading from the release from the governor's office on that one, that the updated public health order as coming out of late last week, quote, removing the previous provision around firearms and replacing it with a provision that temporarily suspends the carrying of firearms at parks and playgrounds in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County, and also does have some updated items on staffing at emergency management centers and things like that, and also about drug and alcohol treatment. But again, so it's a narrowing part of the order, I would have to say, and the governor still definitely remaining with the defiant tone, I would have to say, saying in the release, quote, I'm going to continue pushing to make sure that all of us are using every resource available to put an end to this public health emergency with the urgency it deserves. I will not accept the status quo. Enough is enough. With some other quotes from other Senate and House members in agreement with the governor, I think it would be pretty fair to say. So those are, well, a lot of things. And a Patriot chick asking, what is she doing in Taiwan? Again, leading a trade delegation, specifically noted as saying in the release from her office on that one, quote, New Mexico has the ideal economic climate to attract global business, including in Asia. I see great potential to strengthen the partnerships we've already established in Taiwan, bringing continued stability and economic opportunity to all of our citizens. And some other quotes also along there from some Taiwanese officials. So state trade visits, I mean, accept it or not, that's the releases and what they're coming out with it. In any case, let's go ahead and take that next break right now. And coming out of this break, we'll go ahead and head up those phone lines now for the regular phone calls of the day, because of course we had that giveaway earlier. Again, congrats to Ed on that one. Hope you enjoy your services over at Hammer and Nails. But let's get to those regular phone calls on the issues or the things going on and affecting us here in the borderland. If you want to give us a call on that or add your other 2 cents, we got more comments that we'll get to as well. But that number of call, of course, if you want to do it by a phone, 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
El Paso fire is responding to a large blaze that can be seen all over East El Paso, east of Rich Beam and south of Montana. The blaze reportedly started in a recycling yard. Try to avoid that area. Accident, Alabama, north of McKinley. Slow traffic on the 10 eastbound from Vinton down to Red. 15-minute delays. In Kerry Edwards, El Paso traffic.
This report is sponsored by Pfizer.
Warning. If you are 60 or older, RSV can be a dangerous respiratory virus.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. This message is brought to you by Pfizer.
Hey, El Paso, Ivan Ochoa, General Manager of Sunland Park Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat. Don't get hit hard by high prices or low trade offers. Score a touchdown and save thousands on new and certified pre-owned vehicles and get more for your trade.
Trade in and trade up for less during Jeep Adventure Days at Sun Park Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. For a limited time, get $6,500 off MSRP on 2023 Ram 1500 Lone Star, Bighorn, and Laramie trucks, or 2.9% APR for 72 months. 2023 Jeep Gladiator trucks 10% off MSRP. Take $3,500 off MSRP on 2023 Dodge Charger. Get $2,500 off MSRP on 2023 Chrysler 300 and 2023 Dodge Challenger. Worried about your credit or worried that you're upside down on your trade? Forget about it. Our aggressive lenders will push to approve your credit, even if your credit is less than perfect or if you owe more than your trade is worth. Trade in and trade up for less at Sunland Park Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. At I-10 at Sunland Park Drive or online at sunlandparkdodge.com. $1,550 per thousand finance includes factory rebate and dealer discount plus TTL. Also like vehicles with approved credit. Offers not combined.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Let's talk about good feet. Do you have good feet, or do you have tired, sore, or painful feet? Or maybe you even have pain in your hip, knees, or back, and you suspect it's coming from your feet. Hi, this is Mike with the Good Feet store. With over 200 stores across the country, the Good Feet store has accumulated thousands of 5-star reviews from people who struggle with problems just like these. You might ask, how do you get all those great positive reviews? Well, it may sound a little old-fashioned, but 5-star reviews come from our commitment to providing 5-star service. That's why we offer a lifetime warranty on all arch supports and a free fitting and test walk. You can try before you buy. So you've got nothing to lose. Stop in today and see what the Good Feet store can do for you.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Sandal season is here, and Good Feet fits into all your summer shoes, even flip-flops.
Discover credit cards do something pretty awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right, everything you earned doubled. The cash back from trips, restaurants, all doubled. Seriously, though, see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I am your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so. A lot of ways to interact with the program, particularly at this point during the show, when we do have those phone lines open, and we are getting into the feedback, commentary, etc. part of the program here. So if you want to get on that line, do still have lines available. The number to do so is, of course, 915-544-5876, 915-544 KTSM is the number to call there, and a lot of commentary, particularly on the whole situation involving some of the aftermath of the now acquittal of Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton back on the job and already vowing to take action, and particularly a statement regarding the Biden administration, where the first one's coming out here. But some other commentary on that, including a James Ratcliffe saying, "I don't think 70% of House Republicans wanted an impeachment." Well, whether you think that was their intent or not, I mean, that was the vote, because there are 85 members of the House that are Republicans overall, and 60 of them voted in favor. So technically it is 70.5, rounding up to 70.6 percent of them did vote in favor on the House side of things. But then, of course, when it came to the Senate, only 2 ended up voting in favor of it, missing the threshold in order to secure the conviction for impeachments. And not even then on both of them, not voting in favor of all of the articles of impeachment there. I think it was not quite a little bit more than half of it specifically. But other commentary going on, and including, as Buddy Bias puts it there, that there actually is further investigations, under federal investigations, Ken Paxton. And again, there's rumblings of even grand juries being convened in the areas relevant to any potential things. So it's not necessarily out of the woods totally for further issues, but beyond the political issues for Ken Paxton, though. I don't know. The whole political situation still is pretty volatile in that area. And how was it put by I think Patriot Chick put it, so sick and tired of these political theatrics. Yeah, there's a lot of it going around, particularly in Austin these days, and it's not going to stop anytime soon, I do kind of feel like, but we'll have to see how this next potential expected special legislative session ends up going through here. But we do, of course, have those phone lines open right now. So let's go ahead and get to that first phone call this hour right now. Again, that number 915-544-5876. We do have Raul in Northeastern line with us here right now. Raul, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Andrew. Well, the state of California is suing the oil companies. They're suing British Petroleum and ExxonMobil, Chevron, Shell, ConocoPhillips, and their trade group, the American Petroleum Institute, for a long-standing pattern of deceiving the public over the risks associated with fossil fuels and causing billions of dollars in damage to communities and the environment. Now, this lawsuit was filed by the state's attorney general, some guy named Rob, and he claims that the defendants damaged the natural resources and that the state property and state property, and that they've violated California law by misleading state residents with false advertising and misleading environmental marketing. Now, they filed a 135-page complaint, and the state claims that all 5 major oil companies have known since the 1960s that the burning of fossil fuels would harm the planet and change the climate. But they instead downplayed the risk of burning fossil fuels. And they said this resulted in damaging wildfires, unclean air, deadly heat waves, and record-breaking droughts, and cost the state of California billions of dollars. And they claim that the American Petroleum Institute was initially warned about this, about the severe climate change, as far back as 1968, after having received a report from the Stanford Research Institute, which they hired to investigate the state of research on environmental pollutants such as carbon dioxide. Now, they said, this is what they said, significant temperature changes are almost certain to occur by the year 2000, and there seems to be no doubt that the potential damage to our environment could be severe.
So I'm aware of this lawsuit because it's been making headlines among other things here. But when it comes to immediate parts of our area, we'll see. Maybe in New Mexico, the attorney general there might be willing to join in on the suit. But I'm going to guarantee that Ken Paxton is in Texas, as the attorney general there, going to be willing to get onto that one. And I mean, California has always taken a very different bent when it comes to dealing with their, I don't know, dealing with all aspects when it comes to environmental issues, though maybe not enough. PG&E and their power lines comes to mind here. But I mean, there was at various points California having essentially created for themselves the right to do different emission standards. And that had some impact on what cars and availability there were in other parts of it. But in the meantime, I got to say, I'm not going to see maybe if this lawsuit ends up going through could have an effect here on what is part of it. But I would also fully expect that probably like Texas Attorney General and other similarly aligned states attorneys general would be, well, maybe joining on the opposite side of that if it really comes down to it. So, I mean, I get the idea that it's an important thing for you, but a little bit outside of the far of the field of our local part of it, because I mean, California isn't part of our coverage area. So I mean, we'll see how that case works out, and as we start seeing any impacts and things that can be drawn down to the local level, we'll certainly talk about it. But otherwise, as a just general idea about, well, let's talk about oil companies, yeah, you're kind of not really hitting the nail on the head there when it comes to our local talk during the week. So appreciate the point in the call for what it's worth as a concept anyway, but I think you're missing the mark there when it comes to non-Friday days. So we got to take that next break right now anyway. So if you want to get on the line and add your 2 cents, that number to do so is 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
Not one, but 2 big crashes on the loop in the last 20 minutes, both southbound on Loop 375 in the East Valley. One just approaching Liberty Expressway. That accident's blocking 2 left lanes. A crash southbound on Joe Battle at Edgemere has the right lane blocked. El Paso Fire and several other agencies fighting a large recycling plant fire south of Montana in the Far East Valley at Buffalo Bill and Craig Street. Kerry Edwards, El Paso traffic.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. And now try Babbel for free by texting radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000. That's RADIO to 64,000.
Don't miss our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
The biggest superstars from all genres of music on one stage.
News on the hour and a
Stream
half.
it live
Traffic
only
and
on
weather all
Hulu.
day.
This Friday
News
and
Radio
Saturday.
10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific.
KTSM AM El Paso, an iHeart radio station.
NBC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. The United Auto Workers strike against the big three U.S. automakers is entering its 5th day. Reports say the union has met with Ford, GM, and Stellantis in recent days with little to no progress on a new contract. Nearly 13,000 auto workers remain on strike. They're demanding better pay and pension benefits. Stellantis COO Mark Stewart says the UAW has benefited from the automakers' success.
3 years into our merger, it's been 3 of the best profit-sharing years as we look over the last 3 years, and folks enjoying that, and we want to make sure going forward folks continue to enjoy that.
Hunter Biden is planning to plead not guilty to federal gun charges after he was indicted last week. That's what his attorney said in a court filing Tuesday. Biden is also asking for his initial court appearance to be held remotely. Ukrainian President Zelensky says Russia has no right to hold nuclear weapons. He addressed the UN General Assembly Tuesday as his country continues to fight against Russia's invasion. Zelensky said Russia should have been forced to give up its nuclear weapons in the 1990s. 5 Americans who've been imprisoned in Iran are back on U.S. soil, having touched down this morning in Virginia. The Biden administration agreed to a deal exchanging the group for Iranian nationals held in the U.S. and also giving Tehran access to $6 billion of its own oil revenue that had been frozen through sanctions.
The funds that were released are going to be used for humanitarian purposes. The U.S. will have complete insight on how those funds are being used.
That's U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas Greenfield. Most Americans aren't confident in the country's political system. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio. Influential business groups are lining up behind an immigration reform proposal that would make changes to the work visa program. The author is Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez.
That focuses on work visas, not pathway to citizenship, not social services, work visas.
Nationwide, there have been labor shortages that have affected the business community. They now see an opening to push for changes that would make it easier to hire foreign workers. Former Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani is being sued for non-payment of legal bills. Sarah Lee Kessler reports.
Robert Costello claims Giuliani owes his New York law firm David Hutcher and Citron $1.6 million in unpaid legal fees dating back to 2019. Some of the hours billed include early legal representation in what became election interference cases in Georgia and D.C. Costello says Giuliani is paid just $214,000. Giuliani says the bills are excessive. His most recent payment was $10,000 paid earlier this month, following the $100,000 a plate fundraiser Trump held for him at his Bedminster Golf Club.
A new study says working from home could cut your carbon footprint in half. Researchers for the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences of the U.S. wrote remote work could cut someone's footprint by as much as 58%. They studied 5 parts of the work from home life: IT, power use at home and at the office, and travel for commuting and other purposes. The study also says hybrid work can make as much as a 29% difference in carbon impact. Drake is moving to Texas. The rapper made the announcement during his second show in Houston. The rapper told the crowd outside of Toronto he feels most at home in their city, and he promised that Houston will be seeing a lot of him in the future. Brian Shook, NBC News Radio.
Coming to Hulu this Friday and Saturday.
Don't miss our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
The biggest superstars from all genres of music on one stage.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas.
Stream it live only on Hulu.
You will not want to miss.
This Friday and Saturday, starting at 8 p.m.
Capital One is a proud partner of the iHeartRadio Music Festival for the 7th year in a row, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Since 2010, Blindster has sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters to satisfied customers across the country with 20,000 5-star reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Custom blinds at low prices and free shipping. Blindster.com.
The El Paso Community Foundation supports the causes you feel passionate about here in the borderland, whether it's education, social services, arts and culture, the environment, health, or economic development. The El Paso Community Foundation has been promoting philanthropy and progress in our hometown region for more than 45 years. Make your mark with us. Start a fund today. For good, for El Paso, forever. Learn more at epcf.org. That's epcf.org.
The Lavinia Wine Harvest Festival is September 30th and October 1st. Info at laviniawinery.com.
Why is iHeartRadio the #1 streaming radio app? Free music.
Free live radio stations from all over the country.
Free podcasts.
Free playlists.
Free contests. Free artist radio stations.
Commercial-free stations. It's free. I love iHeartRadio. Join the millions of music, radio, and podcast fans on the #1 streaming radio app now.
iHeartRadio.
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 Free never sounded so good.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I am your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live, streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages we're up on these days, facebook.com/Talk El Paso, the Talk El Paso channel over on YouTube, Twitter at Talk El Paso, or twitch.tv, Andrew J. Polk. And of course, Talk El Paso brought to you in part by Sunland Park, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Find them, of course, 950 Crockett Street, right across I-10 from Sunland Park Mall. They've definitely got their fall kickoff sale event in full swing. You can get thousands of dollars in cash allowances or up to 10% off MSRP for well-qualified buyers. See them for details. And, of course, a lot of deals over there for you, including new and used Chrysler, Sunland Park, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, and a lot of other commentary going on, such as Amanda Moncada amending his personal public health order to protect bald men for only those residing near Escalante Park. Wondering how personal we're getting there. I know you had some concerns about the hammer and nail services, but I'll just say this, that they do, of course, offer, hand, face, and foot services as well. So there's something for everyone. If you don't have any of those, again, I do apologize. But other people chiming in and adding their 2 cents, including those dropping those likes and reacts that we certainly do appreciate, including, trying to get the full list here, Amber Banda, Matt Olson, Buddy Valles, Ian Graham, James Radcliffe, Sean Gardner, Ed Clore, James Holmes, RJ, Robbie Flores, Monica Cervantes, and Ida Beza Gardner. And we have a lot of other commentary coming in, including some people. Okay, if you're just destined and intended to miss the point, like if you got something you want to talk about, hey, no worries. We can probably get it as long as we're in the kind of like right part of the week here. But in reference to one of our earlier interviews, referring to the billion-dollar industry that is the Texas restaurant, and talking with the head of the Texas Restaurant Association, Louis Pinado, saying a next interview should be with the Women's Needlepoint Club. So you've never been to a restaurant or had any implications from it, or known anyone that's worked in one, or been concerned about economic performance or any of those things. None of that. That's all on the same level as women's needlepoints. good to know, because we have a lot of things going on. And okay, no, I get it. You just make gruel at home. That's fine for you. Good luck. Anyway, point is that there's a lot of different things going on at any point in time. And since we did have the Texas Mutual Insurance Company's Work Safe Texas Summit in the area talking about that, took the opportunity to talk with some statewide folks that we wouldn't necessarily always, but if you actually listen to the interview, talking about some of the ongoing efforts and things even coming up, such as for restaurant owners, those that have already been getting squeezed by price increases, what they're also looking at the way that we've already seen some local businesses very specifically stop using some of those national both payment processors, but then also food service issues like Uber Eats or similar type of ones because of the chunk of change they're taking out of their hide with every order being made. This is why I say, till further notice, that if you're going to order from a local restaurant, particularly a locally based one, like, I mean, sure, there are chains that are open and owned by local people, not trying to denigrate them, but your local ones, your non-chain ones that may not have those big business deals able to be made with some of those, like, your food delivery app of choice that was, kind of the legacy ones. Like, I mean, yeah, the pizza places still have their own delivery drivers, but for the rest of them, order straight from the restaurant, because A, you might get a better price, and B, they get more of it, pretty much all of it, directly to them, just as kind of a general concern, one I keep in mind there. Anyway, but let's go back to those phone lines now. Again, that number to call if you want to get on the line, and a lot of people chiming in different ways over on the social media. We'll get to more of them here in a bit, but if you want to get on the line, that number to do so, 915-544-5876-544 KTSM. We do have Eric on the east side of the line with us here right now. Eric, thanks for joining us.
Hello there. Before getting to local issues, I just need to point out that on Friday, when you were defending your downplaying of Trump's D.C. grand jury indictment, you lied about me having said Trump would be charged with treason. And on top of that, you lied about me screaming that because, if you're going to tell one lie, why not tell another? But I not once ever said he would be charged with treason. I never said that, just like I've never said that it was proven in a court of law that he tried to steal the election. I have, however, repeatedly said that it has been proven in reality that Trump tried to steal a presidential election, and that this attempt to destroy the Constitution and steal the election is traitorous and treasonous. And what he was charged with by that grand jury in D.C. can't be described as traitorous and treasonous. I never said that he would be charged with treason or terrorism either. I did say his election fraud lies caused and causes terrorism, which is undeniable. You were, in fact, downplaying what he was charged with. But
I was describing what he was charged with, my dude. If you're going to call someone describing what you're talking about as a lie, I'm guessing you're real fun at parties with that. But on to the local issues here, and the part that we're actually doing during this part of the week. What was your points you wanted to bring up on that?
Yeah, New Mexico's state legislature, the House is made up of 27 Democrats to 15 Republicans. And in the state Senate, it's 45 Democrats and 25 Republicans.
Sure.
Like you're researching and fact-checking you cited involving Fox and Friends and Fox News had you communicating to your followers the view that there's a realistic possibility of Grisham being impeached. Like, this is an absurd narrative that only exists in bad faith right-wing echo chambers because of the political makeup of the state legislature. There's zero chance of Democrats impeaching Grisham. Like, I've told you in the past, garbage in, garbage out. Like, if you think Fox News is credible, you'll find yourself promoting a ton of misinformation about important issues, as you frequently do.
Okay, let's make a couple of things clear here, as I have told you before, but if we're just going to keep doing these roundabouts of this kind of thing, yeah, it's no secret that effectively Democrats have the triumvirate. They have both state houses and the governor's office and a whole lot of other state offices and state level ones, including representation. So yeah, it's not anywhere unclear that Democrats it's a very different situation north of the state line here in the Texas-New Mexico border. So that's not it, but also we've seen that there have been officials that are otherwise Democrats, including, the sheriff up there and the state attorney general, that have been saying, yeah, this ain't it when it comes to the efforts that are being taken under place. So no, this is not saying that, oh, no, yeah, Grisham is absolutely going to be impeached. And quoting what people are saying in other outlets, you take that as promotion of it. okay, to put that another way, do you find us promoting what you say when we reference what you say, or by taking your call here, would we feel that we are necessarily promoting your point of view on this specifically?
When you pick which Facebook comments you're going to share with your audience on air, you are promoting those views.
Okay, so when we're talking about reporting, then, since we're changing up what you were referring to there, nice goalpost move, by the way. Point is that, I mean, yeah, there are certain ones that I then end up addressing, but none of these things should be taken as endorsements. We've referred to your points that you've put in the Facebook comments as well before. So again, I put the question to you, and I'd really like an answer to it this time around. Of the times that we have reference to you, or even taking your calls here, do you experience it as a promotion of your specific viewpoints? Is that the way you take it?
Well, you frequently incorrectly, you purposely mischaracterize what I say. So when I'm saying something and you purposely mischaracterize what I'm saying, it can't be said you're promoting my views.
Okay,
So,
hey,
no.
that was an answer. That's great. Thank you. So, no, I mean, just because we're talking about what we're talking about does not mean we are promoting it. There's a lot of things we bring up, and not all of them are like, hey, this is a great thing. Everyone should know about this. Oftentimes it's we need to talk about these kind of things. So, yes, those were interviews being given on other media channels, and we often cite our sources because that's what we do around here. So, point is that no, I'm not seeing necessarily, but the fact that it's even been brought up in a state where it hasn't been as much is significant. And also the fact that, again, within the state of New Mexico, there is at least some lack of lockstep. I mean, not everyone has exactly fallen in line behind the governor, even though members of her own party on this. So, I mean, there has been pushback, and we'll see what ends up coming out of the court cases. But no, if you took it as this is a straight road to impeachment, Michelle Lujan Grisham getting the boot, like that's you adding more context into this than was ever intended to be.
No, I didn't say that.
Didn't say that you said it, my dude. That was me making a funny voice about the idea of apparently the way that I think that you interpret the way I say things. Because if you're if you're trying to read into what we're saying, we're pretty flat with the way we go about this. But if you're reading into grand conspiracies behind it, I really don't have anything for you there. So again, yeah, no, at this point in time, besides the threatened specter of it, has been no definitive action being taken on impeachment, like committees being formed or anything like that. Objectively less happening at that state level than there has been at the federal level when it comes to that. So yeah, if you want to put it in perspective that way, that would be correct. But don't think that we're just going to sit here and take it as oh man, he said that I was lying. Oh geez, I have to reevaluate my life. Dude, I've been told worse by better. So we're going to go ahead and take that next break right now. So coming out of this break, we'll get to more calls and more comments about the things going on and affecting us here in the borderland, of which, again, yeah, the New Mexico stuff certainly is an aspect of it, but there's a whole lot more going on as well. So if you want to get on that line, that number to do so is 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned. Mazer Security Alarms, providing safety, security, and peace of mind wherever you may need it, at home, at the office, any routine, anywhere you need something that has that level of security and specifically the technology they bring along with it, with, of course, their certified, licensed, and experienced install techs. They've been doing this for more than 40 years now. And so if you want to find someone that can bring that quality to your establishment, place of business, or again, where you and your loved ones spend your evenings, you absolutely need to give them a call by giving them a ring at 915-590-0033. That's 915-590-0033. They provide the security systems here at our offices and can do the same for you. Ask them about the News Radio 690 KTSM, or just 690 discount for short, Mazer Security Alarms.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
Southbound on the loop at the 601 spur, an accident has closed all lanes. All southbound lanes on Loop 375 closed and a backup. Southbound Joe Battle at Edgemere Boulevard, an accident's blocking the right lane and causing delays in both directions on Edgemere, east and westbound. 15-minute delays on the I-10 eastbound from Vinton to Red in the Upper Valley. And Montana eastbound from Lee Trevino out to Desert Meadows is a 12-minute delay. Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You used the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Major phone carriers make you sign contracts with rigid data plans to trap you into a kind of forced phonogamy. Sounds pretty insecure if you ask me. At Consumer Cellular, we believe in a more consensual and healthy form of phonogamy, free of contracts and more flexible to your data needs. This way, you stick around not because we force you to with contracts and fees, but because you love our phone plans. Like ardently love our phone plans. Phonogamously. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
And paid for by Linear Marketing Group. Are you drowning in debt? Are you struggling to make minimum payments? Did you know that on average, a household with at least one credit card struggles with over $17,000 in credit card debt? If this sounds like you, know that it's not your fault. Credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates and low minimum payments. Before you know it, you're in over your head. We've helped thousands of good people just like you become debt-free with our Debt Reset program that will dramatically reduce your debt down to a fraction of what you owe. Our Debt Reset program is customized to get you debt-free in as little as 24 to 48 months with one low monthly payment. If you owe over $10,000 in credit card debt or even personal loans, call 800-480-7003 now. There are no upfront fees or out-of-pocket expenses. You don't pay a dime until we succeed. Call now to see how the Debt Reset program can work for you. 800-480-7003. That's 800-480-7003. Again, 800-480-7003.
Traffic's bad enough without Mother Nature adding to your headache. Traffic and weather all day. Stay informed with El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM. News Radio 690 KTSM El Paso.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I am your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, whatever works best for you, be it on air, online, live, streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, either under Talk El Paso or Andrew J. Polk. And those phone lines, again, open if full up at the moment, but keep that number handy, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. A lot of commentary on the commentary going on because of the idea of anytime someone mentions a national political figure, just ending it. I don't want to have this kind of knee-jerk reaction to anyone's call saying, oh, no, you brought up the wrong person, wrong time of the week, because, I mean, there are points that could be made about, like, currently being evaluated policy, among other things, that is very valid. But if you're wanting to rehash stuff, but okay, keep Friday is all I'm saying, because we do that because I think we need to. But if it starts bleeding over too much into the rest of the week, and may have had a little bit too much patience. I've often been credited with patience, but there's always too much of a good thing. Anyway, back to those phone lines now. We do have Marco over in Central on the line with us here right now. Marco, thanks for joining us.
How's it going, Andrew?
Doing all right there. What's on your mind?
Man, you got the stupid really pushing back on you today.
We have good days and bad days.
I want to just say this. Basically, Eric right now felt the full force of the Andrew elbow off the top rope. And so...
all right.
You should chill out. I don't know what's up with that guy, but that's fine. And to Raul though, Raul immediately calls back and is excited over this like lawsuit. Raul, again, bro. Nitrogen and oxygen. Okay, nitrogen is about 69% of the atmosphere. Oxygen is about 29. 0.04% is CO2. Okay, 0.04. If you go any less than that, we're all going to die. That's just the fact. That's called physics and science. But that's not why I called, actually.
Fair
the
enough.
reason I called is because I want to talk about the institution. And I want to address something that Frankie said. You know, you know what I like about Frankie? Frankie's like your grandfather that will sit there and trash you, but he's telling you some truths. And so I always listen to Frankie, you know, and there is some truth, but he also needs to understand. And I want to lay this out real quick. Okay. I have a GoFundMe page. Obviously it's going to be my name, Marco for mayor, whatever, you know, it's a go. If you think that what I'm trying to do in El Paso is cool and we're trying to change the way things are, vote for me. That's as easy as it is. I'm going to put my ideas out there and let's go. Okay. But Raul or Frankie needs to understand that I am running a campaign that's different because the problem here is, again, in either sometime in June, July, you'll start to get these faces to come out. And then you'll have this mega backing. And then you'll start, this is just like a window of a couple of months. And hopefully these people get out there. And it's not fair to the voter. Because they only get a sliver of who these people are. What I'm doing, and I don't want to tell you my strategy because it's a legitimate tactic. But what I'm trying to do is actually give people an opportunity to get to know the person that's running for mayor, which is me, Marco for mayor.
Sure.
Okay? You're going to have, there will be no dispute. You can get to know me. I've doxed myself, guys. Talking about restaurants today, come visit me right here. 425 South Oregon, Valentina Street. I'm in the ghetto. Okay? You and I, whoever wants to come down here, we can take a walk in the ghetto. I can show you things that will blow your mind. We can talk about things. I've already had your tocayo come visit me, Andrew. How's it going, brother, out in the radio land? He came, visited. I appreciate it. We had an exchange of ideas. He's an awesome individual. And so I'm taking it serious, but I want Frankie to know he's right. This is what's unfortunate, okay? And it's sad for me, okay? I find it exciting for myself on a journey that I'm taking. And I'm just, I'm literally letting destiny just go for it. I know what I need to do, and it can be done. And I know it can be done. I don't want to reveal what I'm doing because I just, I don't want to spoil the milk. But there's a lot of tactics involved, okay? I will give you an idea, but I don't even think I should give you this idea because I just don't want it to go out. Okay, so I'll just leave it at that. Just understand what I'm doing has been done in other countries where America's interests are concerned. Okay, we'll call those color revolutions. And so I'm just trying to implement those ideas going out into the city. Okay, the problem is, and the sad part is, the institution. Okay, talking about Dan Phelan, talking about Dan Patrick.
Sure.
Look. Me as an individual, Marco, okay? I'm a Republican. I'm a precinct chair for precinct 70, okay?
Oh, okay.
You think this would be an exciting time within the party, and it's not. Okay? They look at you, they look at me. Why? Again, because I'm not the prototype of what they want. If I was to do certain things, I'm sure it would be more favorable. And they don't, and then in their mind, they're like, well, what do you need? What do you want? And they make it seem like you're just demanding. And what I'm saying to the Republicans, and I'm going to call them out today, flat out, I don't care.
Okay.
What I'm saying to them is the process that you've undertaken for the last however many years you want to say, sucks. Okay? You haven't gotten anything in El Paso. You guys keep playing defense. I'm coming out and playing offense. I have everybody. When Raul wants to address me, how does he address me? Marco Antonio Contreras. He'll say my name, or they'll say Marco for mayor. You know what that is for me? Thank you. That's a one-up for me because you're throwing my name out into the ether. I'm not telling the Republicans my way is the best way. What I'm trying to tell them is let's think of things differently because we don't have to be slimy about the way we approach politics. The problem with politics today is that nobody knows anything about politics. They're just caught up in 15-second snippets of garbage. And then you have stupid fights like, look, McCarthy and Gates, he's gonna tell them to go to hell because nothing's been done on subpoenas for Biden's son, Hunter Biden. And I'm just like going, man, there are so many bigger issues in America, and we're not even paying attention to potential nuclear war, the proliferation of a new currency in the world through BRICS, going local here. I mean, you have the mass migration problem that's coming here to El Paso. What are we going to do about these people? We found out that BlackRock and Vanguard have procured enough land to build 75,000 homesteads in Texas. That would change the face of Texas forever. So there's a lot of things going on, okay? I want Frankie to know that I hear him. I wish I had a better system intact going forward. This is why I wish the Republicans would trust me and just say, okay, let's try it out your way. Because they haven't done anything. I'm sorry. I don't want to trash them. I'm a Republican myself, but your ideas have failed. This is a Democrat city. I'm telling you, if we were to do things earlier and let people know who we are, I think it would work out for us. But our ideas just do not resonate because we're not touching the human aspect of things. That's what I'm doing. I'm touching the human aspects of things because it matters. And so I want to tell everybody out there, listen, if you're struggling hard in your life and you want to do something, you got to break out. You got to force the issue because if you don't, you're always going to be wondering, should I have done it? I hope that my brothers in the Republican Party come along to my way. But if not, I know that I'm going to change the face of El Paso because, again, I'm going to start hitting every barrio in this city, and we're going to get 200,000 votes. And I don't give a damn if it's Republican or Democrat. If you're hurting, I'm going to be your mayor. I'm going to be the people's mayor. And you better fear that because the people are going to have their power heard. They're going to have their voices heard. And this BS of just going on to get along those are done days. We need to start working for the people. And damn it, I will say one more thing. If they're busy giving money out to corporations and stuff, if it's within my power, I will turn around. I will shock the system. I will start passing checks out to people that are hurting. Real people, El Pasoans that are hurting, not immigrants. They have enough people helping them out. I'm talking El Pasoans. So, if there's enough money for the system, if there's enough money for Cassandra, we'll find money for the people. That's my plan. Love you guys. Marco for mayor. Have a beautiful day.
Yeah, I appreciate the part in the call. You have a good one there.
You too, brother. Have a good one.
All right. And with that, we do have to take that next break right now. Coming out of this break, we are going to be talking a little bit more and taking more of these calls here. I will say that to anyone being confused about the things going on when it comes to the conversation about grassroots, I will say that historically getting people out to the polls in our area has been one of the major ones. I'm not asking anyone to necessarily reveal their campaign strategy, but it's certainly a major one to have to overcome here. But let's take that next break right now. Coming out of this break, getting more calls, squeezing them what we can on the line here. Lines again available here shortly, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned.
Paso's News Radio, 690 KTSM.
With your KFOX 14 news update, I'm Liz DeWicki. KFOX 14 has learned that the execution of David Renteria is back on. It's been set back to its original date of Thursday, November 16th, 2023. Renteria is on death row right now for the murder of a 5-year-old girl in 2001. Just last week, the execution date had been withdrawn, according to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Close to $2 million in drugs has been intercepted at the U.S.-Mexico border in the first 2 weeks of September alone. Customs officers have seized almost 300 pounds of fentanyl, meth, heroin, cocaine, and marijuana before it got into the United States. Agents say all of these busts were separate incidents. One person is in the hospital right now with pretty serious injuries after a crash in northeast El Paso. It happened overnight Tuesday on Highway 54 south on Dyer Street. Only one vehicle was involved, but police had to close all the lanes of the highway while they were on that scene. The highway is back open right now. With your KFOX 14 news update, I'm Liz DeWicki.
News Radio 690. Traffic all day.
A crash on Loop 375 after Liberty Expressway has blocked all southbound lanes. Traffic is stopped. A 45-minute backup to Sergeant Major. Southbound Joe Battle at Edgemere, an earlier accident still partially blocking the right lane, causing delays on Edgemere in both directions. Eastbound Montana McRae out to Desert Meadows is a 16-minute delay. Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
From the KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Brad Montgomery. Slight storm chances get back into the forecast for our Wednesday. Partly cloudy, still on the hot side for tomorrow. Breezy conditions with a high around 95 degrees. 20% chance of storms as we go through the afternoon and evening hours. As we look at your Thursday, partly cloudy, breezy again. Lower to mid-90s with a high around 93 on Thursday and a 10% chance of a storm for your Thursday. From the KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Brad Montgomery.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Want to save big on custom faux wood blinds, shutters, cellular shades, and more? Shop Blindster today and save up to 50% over comparable blinds from brick and mortar stores. Get custom blinds at low prices and free shipping at Blindster.com.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-727-9105. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105.
Summer is winding down, but business needs keep ramping up? Check out Indeed, the all-in-one hiring solution that helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply. This report is sponsored by Indeed.com.
There won't be much substance on your news feed until you add us. Just like us or click on the link at kcsmradio.com.
City streets or small towns, everyone deserves a clean, green community. We are Keep America Beautiful, the nonprofit working to end littering, improve recycling, and beautify communities. Let's do beautiful things. Visit KAB.org.
El Paso's News Radio, 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I am your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live, streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages we're up on these days. Would definitely recommend that you get the iHeartRadio app if you've got a smart device, got your app stores or whatever it is, Android, iPhone, or anything in between these days, because you can get there, you can see some of the notifications, and also we got some out of office time coming up here. More details on that as soon as we can. And during those times, we're not going to be able to take the phone calls, obviously, because we're not doing that, but we will be able to take it through the iHeartRadio app. There's the talkback feature talked about that in the past. We like doing the phone calls, so we focus on that. But if you want to send us a message that way, you certainly can. Just during Talk El Paso, you press that little red button, and you can leave us a message. And, of course, the pound 250 line. That's the way we'll, during that out of office time, we'll have to handle it that way. But just keep those handy and in mind. So make sure you got the iHeartRadio app. Definitely got to say that. A lot of people chiming in and adding their 2 cents, but we do have those phone lines open at the moment again and available since we're, again, here and live. 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. A lot of description and debate going on over in the comments right now about the relevancy or the makeup of the electorate more than anything. Like Willie Jenkins with an interesting supposition about there are more Republicans in El Paso than Democrats, or yet they run as Democrats. I mean, there has been some of that phenomenon. I want to say it was at least one congressional representative. I want to say Fennenbach, but don't hold me to that. That was running on the Democratic side of the ballot when it came to representative, the federal representative for our area. But of course, their voting record. Now you can't tell who you voted for, but if you vote in one caucus or the other as a Republican or a Democrat, that is evidence in some way, because you do have to declare yourself as part of a party for the primary process in Texas. It's not an open primary. So that's part of the complication. And so, I mean, certainly there has been, and I mean, there is at least one elected Republican in town that I'm aware of. I believe it's a justice of the peace seat. But let me double check that one now. I got myself questioning myself. But in any case, it's not impossible. It just has not proven perfectly likely. But again, remember that my continued contention is that all the elections and all the things we've seen tend to happen with sub 10% voter turnout. Yeah. So you get any of that other 90% engaged. I mean, let's be a little bit more general. So call it 20% voter turnout for some of these city council elections and such, as they often come in, a presidential or, midterm election years in which there's a slight bump, but still we're not doing great when it comes to voter turnout, y'all. So again, if I had way too much money, way too much time, and way too much interest into it and was running campaigns for anyone, I am not doing that. But if I were to, the get out the vote would be first, second, third, and last on the list of priorities that we would be constantly evaluating and going for, because I think there's a whole lot to be done in this town because it's not right now. Anyway, soapbox moment over. Let's get back to those phone lines now. We do have Frankie and Missy on the line with us here right now. Frankie, thanks for joining us.
My God's of old, I couldn't believe it. I wanted to say something before I heard some of your illustrious guests chiming in. And I want to say something. I heard Marco Antonio, and I got to tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
I like this guy. I like him. He's got a great thought process. I told you before, you, Andrew, everybody out there, Southwest, specifically El Paso, he's pie in the sky. He's got these great, wonderful Pollyannish ideas. But let me tell you, Marco Antonio, listen to me. When you call Andrew and you start saying, I'm running for mayor, and I'm going to come up with some things. Hey, maybe you people don't like it, but this is what I'm going to do. You don't say stuff like this. This is absolutely not. You need a communications director. You need a PR person. But I want to say something. Yeah, you El Pasoans out there can't do any worse than by hiring Marco Antonio. I think he's squared away kind of fella. I mean, he's got his heart in the right place. I don't know. Like I say, I'm a learned liberal. He's a Republican, and so he claims to be. But by the same token, how can you go wrong? I mean, the guy comes across as the most normal thinking person that you can imagine. How can you possibly go wrong by not voting for the guy and making him your mayor? That's all I'm saying. And I don't have any skin in this game, everybody out there, because
sure.
I'm Messiah, Frankie, and Messiah. Okay? But the way he comes across, the way he talks in his overall thought process, I don't see anything wrong with what he has to say. You could disagree with him politically, but I think he has some great ideas, and why not? Why not give him a shot, El Paso? That's all I'm going to say on that. Now, let me say another thing.
Sure.
I heard you yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to chime on this, and I'd like to hear your input. You have got, this goes to the extension of getting people out there to vote, that kind of thing, right? You said that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Now, you said something about that there's this organization in El Paso, the El Paso Electoral Conference, something like that. Is that what you said?
I think I was referring to the El Paso County Elections Department. They're the ones that, put out the machines, get the election judges, organize the polling places as mandated by the state of Texas. But, I mean, there are other organizations such as, I think is it today? Yeah, it is today, isn't it? That is like National Voter Registration Day. And so they were doing some things out with particularly like local schools, particularly colleges, because particularly getting, as much as it's pulling teeth to get people to vote in this area anyway, getting the youth to vote is of particular issue. And so point is focusing on that, though I fully argue that every day should be National Voter Registration Day, because I mean, seriously, we don't have, no one's ever said to me, what's the problem? Too many people voting. We have too many people that are qualified to vote going out and casting their ballot. That is not our issue in this or any other area of this country, I would submit.
Oh, okay. But this organization, they are just going out doing something that's not going to influence positively or negatively. They're going out there straight down the middle. Hey, everybody, this is what we've got. Here's our voting machines. Here's our polling places. Get out and vote. They're not saying one way or the other. Vote for this person or do not vote for this person. They're going out there, if I'm correct in my thinking, that they're out there inspiring, going on your thought process, to get all you El Pasoans out there, get off your duffs, and go vote. Is that it?
I think that would be, well, a major part of it, speaking about the idea of communications directors and things like that. That has to be a major part of the strategy, but also like reaching the people. Okay, if people are not paying attention at this point and, worried about what's going on in polling places, I'm not sure that traditional means are going to be the way to reach them anyway. So it's got to be at least this would be my plan. I'm not trying to necessarily put forth any ideas or say this is what anyone should do, but this is the way I'd go about it. It would definitely be a lot of like going to individual organizations, going to those somewhat more civically active groups, even if they aren't necessarily totally involved with it, and just trying to tell them at the very least, hey, here's why you should consider voting, regardless of what you're going to vote for, why you should do it. Because, I mean, again, when you get less than 1 in 10 people that are even registered to vote, not even the full population of our region, that is not being able to either more than once in 4 years, if even that, wander their way into a polling place, there is more than just I don't like the candidates, or I'm voting because I'm not voting because I am in protest of it. I mean, I know there's people out there that do that, but that's not most people. There's not like real numbers I can point to, but people who actually say that, I think there's more people who are also, even the ones who do say that, they're like, oh, well, I forgot there was, or didn't realize there was an election. I know I'm weird in the way that I'm probably the only person I know of that wakes up in a cold sweat at night thinking, oh my God, did I forget to vote in a recent election? Because that has happened to me, because it goes on my permanent record that way. But point is that it's not just I don't want to vote. It's I don't even understand the point of it. And when you get to those levels of non-votingness, it's not just a protest, it's a severe disconnect at some point in the process between the cause and effect of the voting and then what people see happening in reality and in their government.
Well, I'll tell you what, I like the whole thought process about this El Paso electoral conference thing, or whatever you want to call it, right? That's great. Let's try it. Why not?
Sure.
I'm a big fan of what you said. Let's get people out there. Get them off their duffs. Go out there, participate in the democratic process, for crying out loud. And one last thing. Marco, I love you, baby. You're great. And I would cheer you 14 different ways this Sunday. I think you would be one kick butt. Can I say that?
The way you said it, I think, is fine.
Okay. I think you'll be one kick butt kind of mayor. Give it a shot. Come on, El Paso. Give him a shot, will you? And that's my ending comment.
All right, well, we'll see how this goes. He, again, is, I do believe, registered. There is at least one other race in El Paso, just as the note on this, that does have a number of candidates on it so far, according to the El Paso, Texas.gov, and the city clerk, municipal clerk for El Paso. And there is already 3 candidates listed for City Representative District 4. So we got some races shaping up, but we'll keep our eye on those here. So I do appreciate the point in the call. You have a good one there.
Okay, Andrew, take care. Go Marco Antonio!
All right, I think we have time for at least one more call I think we'll squeeze on here right now. We do have Ben on the east side here with us right now. Ben, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Andrew. Is the city of El Paso still under the state of emergency declaration?
When it regards to the immigration situation, I do believe so. I believe it's been extended.
Okay, it has not ended.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to know about that because I'm just kind of wondering where all this money is to support all the illegals coming in from.
And I will say that specifically, one further note that I didn't bring up earlier and feel relevant, and thank you for bringing that up in that case, actually, that when it comes to that potential purchase and even the temporary lease being looked at by the city of El Paso and EPISD for the former Moorhead School, what the mayor has said on that specifically is they're looking at using primarily federal funding, as quoted by El Paso Matters here, to use a federal emergency management agency program, which provides funding for border cities having a shelter, and has also said that specifically most of the money for any of the purchase would be coming from federal funds, particularly pandemic emergency funds that would be expiring otherwise. So that's some of the major financing moments being looked at for at least this particular instance.
Okay, you said primarily. Does that mean the city is going to be on the hook for part of it also?
I mean, it's not the exact breakdown available there, but I mean, there is going to be, ongoing costs among other things. And I mean, that site is, according to El Paso Matters, I mean, it fits, but I didn't realize it was so big. It's like a 9-acre site on its own. So, I mean, and particularly if, these programs end or change, then yeah, the city would be on the hook for all of it if it were to come to pass.
Is this part of the city budget for this year?
To the moment, I'm going to say no, but there are some other things going on with this as well. So, yeah, looking at it specifically, let me see if I can find the exact quote on for it here. And also it being a continued city facility, including as an animal shelter and dog park, those would be part of the city's budget going forth. Yet, okay, yeah. Quoting from the El Paso Matters article entitled out as of today or yesterday, city looks to purchase vacant EPISD middle school for migrant and animal shelter dated yesterday, the 18th. The specific quotation from that one I'm going to make is that the city plans to purchase the 9-acre property along North Mesa Street and Confetti Drive using federal COVID-19 relief funds, which Leisha said are set to expire at the end of the year.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to find out. It seems like I'm not too sure. Has anybody asked the city or county officials whether or not we really want these people in our city?
Don't know if that question has been asked exactly, though. We referred to earlier in the show, particularly some reporting from both El Paso Matters and our news partners at KFOX 14 about the county facilities and their being used so far, with approximately, I think, was it around the 400 or 500 being dealt with a day through the county side of things. So I think they're, based on previous statements, there's still a continued commitment to deal with it on that avenue of things. So both of the local governments in coordination on this pretty well, particularly in conjunction with the federal on dealing with the releases.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to find out about that. Thank you.
Fair enough here. Well, thanks for the point of the call. Have a good one there.
Well, stay safe. God bless. Let's go, Brandon.
All right, with that, we do have to take that last break right now. Coming out of this break, tell a little bit more about what we got coming up for you, some of the things being planned. So stay tuned. More Talk El Paso after this break here on News Radio 690 KTSM.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
A crash in the East Valley southbound on Loop 375 after Liberty Expressway has blocked all southbound lanes. Traffic is stopped back to Sergeant Major with half-hour delays. Heads up for an injury accident northbound Mesa after Sunland Park. Traffic is slowing from a crash eastbound Pelicano after Zaragoza at Ted Houghton. And an earlier accident's cleared southbound Joe Battle at Edgemere. Carrie Edwards, El Paso Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech. As the world keeps changing, so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're designed to help protect against recent variants. Learn more and schedule at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Hey guys, this is Andrew J. Polk. My not-so-secret way of looking and feeling great is going to Hammer and Nails, El Paso's newest men's grooming destination, with everything about your personal grooming, privacy, and comfort in mind. Ready with your favorite drink at the door. They offer everything from head to toe, hair, beard, mustache, and hand and foot services. You want to find out about their full services and their great memberships. Of course, find them online, hammerandnailsgrooming.com. That's hammer, A-N-D, nailsgrooming.com. And I'll see you there.
Hi, I'm Burt Ward, Robin from TV's Batman, inviting you to feed your dog natural, non-GMO, Gentle Giants dog and puppy food. Dogs eating Gentle Giants and following our special feeding and care program are living as long as 27 healthy, active years with a wonderful quality of life. Holy wow, 27 years! Think of all the extra years you could enjoy with your dog at Petco, Stater Brothers, H-E-B, and more. Try Gentle Giants cat and kitten food, too.
And paid for by Linear Marketing Group. Are you drowning in debt? Are you struggling to make minimum payments? Did you know that on average, a household with at least one credit card struggles with over $17,000 in credit card debt? If this sounds like you, know that it's not your fault. Credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates and low minimum payments. Before you know it, you're in over your head. We've helped thousands of good people just like you become debt-free with our Debt Reset program that will dramatically reduce your debt down to a fraction of what you owe. Our Debt Reset program is customized to get you debt-free in as little as 24 to 48 months with one low monthly payment. If you owe over $10,000 in credit card debt or even personal loans, call 800-480-7003 now. There are no upfront fees or out-of-pocket expenses. You don't pay a dime until we succeed. Call now to see how the Debt Reset program can work for you. 800-480-7003. That's 800-480-7003. Again, 800-480-7003.
For more than 45 years, the El Paso Community Foundation has worked with individuals and nonprofits to address the unique opportunities and challenges in our vibrant multicultural community. Every dollar goes to bettering our region. For more information about the foundation, establishing a fund of your own, or giving to an existing fund or project, go to epcf.org. That's epcf.org. For good, for El Paso, forever.
News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for having joined us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I've been your host, Andrew J. Polk. A lot of things we've covered today, and of course we'll keep up on and keep looking at those updates when it comes to those immigration and border security situations, but even more involving some of those other hosts we even have on this station. We got the opportunity towards though. So there's a lot in the works here, y'all, and we'll do our best to keep on top of it. Again, we are looking at some out-of-office time coming up here. So during those times when we are unavailable, otherwise on air, we might have some fill-ins and other things coming up. So in those times, we're not going to be able to take the phone calls live on air, but you'll still be able to get input into us through primarily, again, the iHeartRadio app. Make sure you have it downloaded because, you can get some updates on what our topics are each day, particularly on the planned guests, or if we do have any other times when we've got breaking news or major topics we're going to be delving into. We'll have those updates coming for you here, but also then the talkback feature through the iHeartRadio app is a way you'll be able to leave us messages, or through the pound 250 line there. But we're about out of time here for this program. So there's always stuff going on here, and we'll keep doing it every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m., as we do right here on News Radio 690 KTSM. So even if we're out of this office time, we will keep abreast and keep y'all updated as much as can be. And again, congrats to our winner for today with Hammer and Nails. Enjoy at your selection of services with that $100 gift card to there. Looking at more giveaways happening later in the month as well, assuming we don't have that out of office time taking precedence over it. But so there's a lot more reasons to stay tuned, y'all. It's not even just the politics or the discussion or the current and ongoing events. We got some stuff coming up for y'all as well. Hopefully we can give away some of those Southern New Mexico State Fair tickets as well in the next week or so. But let's leave it there for today. Out of time, I want to thank again everyone that did tune in, call in, comment, participated in the show. We'll do it again next time, as we do every week. But so until then, until next time, I want you all to stay safe out there, look twice for motorcycles when out on the road, and have a great evening, y'all. We'll see you next.